everybody! My name is Jamie, and welcome to my podcast. Before I get started, I would like to introduce you to my guest, Luka.
Hello.
For this podcast, we will be focusing on classic albums. For our first episode, we will be delving into one of the greatest albums ever recorded, Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah, it's a fantastic album. I was literally just listening to it about 30 minutes ago. It's just a timeless piece, and I mean, obviously, if you listen to Apple Music, you know that it's on the 100 best albums. I mean, this thing has been rated like so highly by Rolling Stone, and I mean, this album's grossed so much money, and this came out in the 70s, Jamie. So like this was so new, this kind of format, you know, for an album, don't you think?
It's a great album, I must say. It came out in 1973, would you believe?
Yeah, 73.
And
it's crazy.
There was a 50th anniversary edition of it a couple of years ago. There's like a live concert of the album in its entirety. Honestly, it's brilliant.
Yeah, I haven't listened to the live concert. I'll definitely do that at some point.
Check it out. If you don't get a chance to listen to that, they've got a double album from the 90s called Pulse. And on that double album, the first disc is just compilation of hits. The second disc, as well as a couple of bonus tracks at the end, is that album, Dark Side of the Moon, in its entirety. Yeah. So check that out, and then check out the live performance from it on its own.
Yeah. What I find so surprising about the album, though, is when you listen to it, it's only about 42 minutes. Yeah, it's a very, very short album. You would think it would be like at least like an hour or so, but I actually think that the runtime helps the album quite a lot, because it does really well in telling this story, this big dark story and it's just very ethereal, you know. Yeah. Go on.
But before punch and roll.
It's all right, bro.
It's all right. For this album, we will be focusing on things that most fans probably didn't know about the album.
Yeah.
But before we do that, I would like to talk about some statistics. Statistics.
Yeah. I know, we know what you mean. Don't worry.
Statistics. We can't say statistic on it.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. Carry on.
Statistics. I can't say statistics.
No, statistics.
There we go. Statistics.
Yeah.
Statistics. There we go. Finally.
All right, go on.
I sense there'll be a lot of editing in this podcast.
Nah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. All right, go on. Come on, what are the statistics?
So, since its release on the 1st of March 1973, The Dark Side of the Moon has sold over 15 million copies in the US alone.
Yeah, I mean, that's just incredible. I don't know if where that sits overall, but I would think that sits very highly, and especially considering records don't really get sold anymore nowadays. It's all streaming. Really, I mean, you look at artists like Drake. You know, they just only release on streaming, and Stormzy. But like back then, you know, everyone would buy records, right? So this album is like if someone like Drake, who's just like involved in everything, or Kendrick Lamar, is that kind of famous, like that kind of thing where everyone's wanting to listen to this, and if you're not listening to this, you're not cool, basically.
Yeah, honestly, if you're not a Floyd fan, just get out of here right now.
I
right?
know.
Well,
luckily we're both Floyd fans, right?
Yeah,
so
this podcast ain't for you if you're not a Floyd fan. So get out of.
I mean, why would you be listening, right?
Yeah, go back and listen to Kanye West or whatever.
Yeah, no, but Kanye West is good though. Don't diss my man.
He thinks he's God.
No, he does think he's God, but like his old albums are good though. Like,
yeah,
I love Graduation.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think what makes this album so interesting is that this album came before the big rap albums such as like 2001 by Dr. Dre, right? But it has that format. This is probably the first album I can at least think of that's popularized the kind of idea of going from one track to another track seamlessly, and not having like an end and then having a few seconds then going on to the next track. It just seamlessly goes from one to another, and I can't think of an album that was earlier than that that was able to do this. And obviously that kind of inspired so many albums, and I'm thinking a lot of rap albums just like 2001 or like almost all of Dr. Dre's catalogue, where they just where each song goes from one to another and you can't even tell.
I think that's the beauty of this album, is it all flows together. But I can tell you one thing about this album.
Go on.
Do you know that it sold over 45 million records worldwide?
No, I didn't know that, man. That's crazy. So but do you know what's crazy about that, right? It's 15 million in America alone, and then so 30 million outside. So what's that, like I don't know, I'm not good at maths, hang on. How would that be, like a third or a quarter?
That's 15 million.
So 15 out of 45.
You've got 45 million. So that's like 15 million times 3 outside.
Yeah, hang on, just give me a sec. Let me maths it.
But
so
if it's
1/3,
million,
yeah, that is 1/3.
Yeah, that'd be a third. Yeah.
That's a third. That's amazing. A 1/3 sold in America. It just shows you how big they were in America.
And I can tell you how many weeks it spent up top of the charts in the US as well.
Yeah, I don't know that. Hang on.
It spent over a total of over. I say over too many times. 937 weeks on the US chart.
How much? Sorry, 927. Did you say?
937.
37. Jeez.
And that's roughly 18 years.
18 years. I mean, there you go. I mean, if you had any doubts whether this album was any good, I mean, there you go. It spent almost 1,000 days. 1,000 days? 1,000 weeks.
Yeah, 18 years on the charts, on the Billboard Top 200 charts.
How many days is that? I'm not going to work that out.
Yeah, let's not
we'll
do that after the show, yeah?
Yeah. Just check that. It's a lot. It's a lot, guys, I don't know. It's a good amount.
And it made its band's members, so David Gilmour, Roger Waters, Nick Mason, Richard Wright, it made them very wealthy.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell they have a great chemistry on the album, and they all know what they're doing. The drummer, I think, is fantastic.
Oh, Nick Mason's his drumming. He's got a tribute band. Well, not tribute band. What's it? He's got obviously Floyd aren't together anymore, and
yeah, I see. I don't know a lot too much about Pink Floyd. I just know how amazing this album is. That's a shame though that they're not together though.
Yes, that they broke up. That's a whole other story. But Nick Mason's got a band now. I think it's called Nick Mason's Saucer Full of Secrets, and they strictly perform early Pink Floyd songs. It's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I'm not surprised, man. I mean, their songs are so famous, man. It's just incredible. And I think it's amazing how much it's kind of inspired music nowadays, because I feel like that kind of dark vibe you get from the album, but it's dark but it's relaxed. I don't think you ever used to get that, and the quality of the album, like the actual like sound of it, it's so good. Like it used to take so much, and it probably did take a lot to get that kind of quality. But nowadays, when you hear it, it's a lot. It still sounds quality. It's just amazing. Like it sounds like it got released today. Yeah, it was also a career turning point for the band as well.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Because it marked a change in genre for the band. Before this release, they were mainly an experimental jam session type band, focusing on progressive rock. But now they were transformed by a top-ish kind of thing. Yeah, no, I know. I know what rock act. I know what you're trying to say. Yeah. It's funny though, because even though they were like maybe they weren't as experimental, the album still feels experimental to me. Like when I'm listening to it, it still feels very, very kind of its own kind of thing. Like I don't think I've ever heard an album quite like that. Like in terms of rock, it's very, very much its own kind of rock thing. It's just a fantastic album, and also the cover art is brilliant. Love it. Yeah. Obviously because it's the light coming to the glass, and then obviously it's like refracting off the glass, and then you get all the colours of the rainbow. Basically, it's pretty cool, man. The album was recorded in multiple sessions at the Abbey Road studio.
Always the Abbey Road, man. It's crazy.
In London between May 1972 and January 1973.
Yeah, I mean, this Abbey Road, the studio must have been so busy in the 70s. You're recording Pink Floyd and you're also recording the Beatles at the same time, right? I mean, those are like probably two of the biggest artists of all time.
Yeah, the album was engineered by Alan Parsons and mixed by Chris Thomas.
I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. Yeah. God, I didn't know that. You got all the facts, bro.
Yeah, literally, this is all about facts.
Yeah.
Facts, and more facts.
Absolute facts. Yeah.
Chock-a-block of facts.
There you go, man. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think it's a brilliant album. Do you want to give it a rating?
Oh,
You got to get out of 10.
10. I think it's a masterpiece.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm a bit. I think I still think it's a really good album. I won't go 10 because 10 is like the perfect album. Like I can't. It's almost so hard to find a perfect album. This is close. I'm not gonna lie. I'll go 8 out of 10.
Fair play.
It's still a really good album. I guess the thing is for me, I'm always someone that likes an album that's like about an hour long. I always prefer an album that has a bit more content. And at the end of the day, the album, though I was talking about, how it definitely benefits it being shorter, I do believe in that. Another song or two wouldn't hurt though,
Yeah.
And maybe making it 50 minutes. That would be good. I think 50 minutes is like the perfect time.
Yeah, well, the most important thing to remember about this album is the meaning behind the music. And what I mean by that is that the album had entirely been
Don't worry.
intended to be a cohesive collection of songs.
Of songs, yeah. No, you can hear it,
yeah. Yeah, that the band had written at their struggles, about their struggles even.
Yeah.
Had written about their struggles as musicians.
Yeah.
However, as the concept for the album was further developed by this they decided further developed. It's alright, don't worry, bro. As the concept was further developed, they decided to focus more on the songs that
no, I know what you mean.
They decided to focus more of the songs
quality
on a range of. It's nothing to do with quality.
Sorry. Oh, it's not to do with quality.
On a range of broader topics. And then some of these examples are, there's a song on the album called Money, which is about wealth.
Yeah.
Surprising nobody.
Big surprise there, man.
There's a song called Brain Damage, which is about madness. Like the lunatics are on the path.
Yeah.
And there's a song called The Great Gig in the Sky, which is about death.
Yeah, I mean, the themes are very strong in this album. You can definitely tell from the start. I mean, I think that I really respect that. When you're going into an album, you've got to have some sort of meaning. Even if the thing is, I'm not that kind of guy that thinks that you've got to have the biggest meaning in the world for an album to be good. You really don't. But you've got to have some sort of theme to it. Otherwise, it's just shallow, right? So, but obviously, this album has some nice themes to it, and it's not like it has this big deep meaning to it. But I kind of like that. I don't. Not every album has to have the big deep meanings. Like if your deep meaning, if the deep meaning works and it makes the album better, great. But I'm just saying, like, you don't need it every single time for every single album.
Well, those are all the statistics done. Statistics. I finally said it right. That's all them done. So let's get into the bits you probably didn't know about the album.
Yeah.
And this will probably be a quick fire thing, but we can probably have a little chat about it as well.
Yeah. Go on.
So this was the first album released from the band to feature Roger Waters as the sole lyricist. So he was the songwriter for every track on this album. Yeah, I
mean, you can hear the writing's really good. I mean, I think the writing on this album is some of their better writing. It's not the best writing, I'd say, like, compared to some of their other albums. But I think the writing is very solid. But I don't think that's what the album's fully about. I think the instrumental section is just absolute top class, as good as it gets. But the writing's still good though.
Yeah, I mean, he this wasn't the first time he'd been writing lyrics for the band. He'd been writing lyrics for the band as far back as their 1968 album, A Saucer Full of Secrets. But this was the first time that he actually wrote a whole album. Yeah. I mean, it's really, really interesting how, like, it's a bit like Queen, where everyone kind of writes for each other on these different albums. But obviously on this one, it's just him, which is very interesting. Yeah.
Because obviously, Queen, right? You had Freddie Mercury that would write, Brian May that would write. You'd have all of them that would write. I wonder whether that was kind of inspired from Pink Floyd. I don't know, or maybe it's just just a coincidence. But regardless, Pink Floyd, always write really well. I don't think I could think of any material that they've wrote that just doesn't sound good. I think it always sounds really good and really nice.
I mean, this was evident. This was evident in the fact that this was the first album to be a concept album But
concept albums are the best, man. Dude, you've got to do a concept album at some point as an artist. You can't just go through not doing a concept album. Those are the ones that sell the best as well. I mean, you think, right, like I'm trying to think. Last year, I mean, what was it? Eminem released his Death of Slim Shady. I mean, I don't think it was that good. It's all right, but when it released, I mean, it got number one, and everyone loved it, and you know, I mean, these things sell, you know.
But unfortunately, so this was his first album writing for the band as a solo lyricist, and this wouldn't be the last. But tragically, it'd be this control that would lead to the band splitting up and Waters leaving and all the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very normal thing, sadly, for bands, especially back then. You know, splitting up and whatnot. I'm trying to think of a similar band, maybe Guns N' Roses when they split up, but obviously they're back now together. But I mean, Axl Rose is quite controlling for the band and would always show up late. Maybe it's not exactly the same, but it's that kind of thing that splits bands up, sadly. That's what makes me respect bands such as Queen or such as even the Beatles, because I know the Beatles kind of split up, but they would still come back and release albums together, right? So they never really did. And then obviously Queen, they never split up, and obviously Freddie Mercury died, but they're still going together.
Yeah.
But I think the point is though, it's just so hard to keep a band together, right? Because everyone's always got different ideas. It's so hard to kind of mediate that, right?
But at the time, the band actually appreciated him taking up this role as sole lyricist, as David Gilmour stated in a 2011 article with Rolling Stone. He said that he never saw himself as a proper songwriter, and so he was very appreciative of Waters doing that and taking up the role. So
he's just being humble. He's just being humble when he's saying that. Like, so yeah, come on, man. He's a good songwriter. What's he talking about?
Yeah,
I don't know what he's talking about there. He's just being humble. But you know, I mean, again, though, if you don't see yourself as a songwriter, obviously you want someone that does. But at the same time, he still writes good. So I don't know what he's talking about there. But oh, yeah, cool.
Try to find the next one. Here we go.
Yeah.
Here's the next little tidbit. So, originally, the album had a completely different working title.
Oh yeah.
The title was simply going to be called Eclipse.
Yeah.
But
it's actually pretty good. It's a pretty good title, actually.
Yeah.
Go on.
But this wasn't entirely true because there's a bit of a backstory behind this. So the album had always been intended to be called Dark Side the Moon. But then there was this band in the 70s. I don't know if they're still together or not. I need to probably do some Googling into that. But there was a band called Medicine Head.
No.
And they released an album before this one came out. And it was also called Dark Side the Moon.
Yeah.
And so to avoid like conflict and stuff, they were going to change it to Eclipse. But then
they changed the mind.
But yeah, because the Medicine Head album flopped, basically.
I think so. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. Did they get copyrighted in the end then?
No, Gilmour said that they weren't annoyed with the band or anything. They were just annoyed that they released the album before they did, because they were the ones who originally thought of the title. But yeah, you've got to write it down. You've got to write it down. You've got to, because otherwise no one's going to believe you. And if it goes to court, no one, you know, they can copyright Pink Floyd at any time. So I mean, I'm surprised they haven't done it yet. I would be copywriting straight away, man. Especially how much that's been making. You know, you get so much money out of that. Yeah.
But you know, it's interesting though. Like, you know, because I think as an artist myself, I think you think of a million different titles for an album, but you know, the one that sticks in the end usually is the best one. But yeah, I'm trying to think of another example. So I mean, To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar, when that came out in 2015, that originally was going to be called To Pack a Caterpillar. Which it's an alright title. I know it's to do with Tupac, but I don't know. I kind of like To Pimp a Butterfly more. Sounds better. I'm trying to think of other titles changes maybe. But that's the one that comes to mind, to be honest. But yeah, it's certainly interesting. Yeah, and do you know what's really interesting as well is how the amount of albums that are called the Black Album or the White Album or the Black Album, right? You got the by Metallica, but you've also got the Black Album by Jay-Z, right?
Oh yeah.
And then you obviously got the White Album by Beatles, as well. I don't know if there was another White Album. I bet you there is somewhere. Who knows? I wouldn't be surprised. But it's just so interesting how kind of titles can clash, like you were just saying with Eclipse, not with Eclipse, sorry, with the title of the album. It's really interesting because obviously we're all different, but sometimes our brains can just think the same kind of thing, for a title for an album, even if the sounds are completely different.
Well, also fans were actually treated to several live performances of this album before it was actually released.
Really? I didn't know that, actually. That's pretty cool, man. Yeah. But that doesn't surprise me, I mean, it's quality, right? So, you got to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they did the first performance. I'll just try and find it. They did the first performance.
Sorry.
The Moon.
God, I'll guess. Whilst you're thinking about
it's definitely in 1972 at some point.
Okay, 72. All right.
I just need to find.
So because 73 wasn't it when it was released?
Yeah, it was released in early 73.
So it makes sense, right? So it was released a year before, right? Sorry, not released a year before. Performed a year before.
I found it.
Oh yeah.
So it was first performed at the Brighton Dome.
Yeah.
On the 20th of January, 1972.
That's crazy, man. Wait, I gotta ask. I still don't know. Is Pink Floyd English or an English band, or are they American band? I have no idea.
Yeah, they're English.
They're English band. Yeah. Because I just can't tell when I'm listening to them. I can't tell. Everyone sounds either English. Everyone sounds English and American nowadays. I can't tell, man.
Yeah, but one thing that is important to know about this first performance is that it was actually cut short.
I didn't know that.
Because
why was that?
Because as Waters described it, it was some sort of what was it? I'm trying to think how to pronounce it. It was some sort of mechanical and electric horror.
It's a bit harsh.
Yeah. I said obviously they were probably some technical issues
they're
backstage.
obviously idiots, aren't they? Because that really became like one of the great selling albums of all time, right?
A bit like us trying to set this up. It was mechanical and electric horror because it was all technical issues, wasn't it? And that's probably happened back on stage.
On stage, but even still, like, come on, man, this the album's good. What's wrong with the album? It's I don't know, man. When people hear something new, everyone judges, though. That's what I will say. You know, like every time. So,
yeah, but they would continue to perform the set list throughout the remainder of their shows in 1972.
Yeah.
And they would like refine and build on the songs as they performed them. Like basically, they would be like, and the transitions as well. They would be like different each performance.
Yeah. I've got a question for you, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Has Pink Floyd, have they inspired you as like a band? Have they inspired you to do music and because for me, right, Guns N' Roses was the first band to inspire me, and that kind of led me down my path to study music. But like, does Pink Floyd have that impact, or if not, what band does?
I think Pink Floyd inspired me because I've always been a Floyd fan.
Yeah.
They've always been a band that
you've liked,
yeah. And I think the Floyd are a great band, and they've always been a band that I've looked up to, and I've loved their music since I was little. So.
Yeah. Well, that makes a lot of sense because, because these kind of bands that they inspire you, right, and they make you want to carry on with music and make kind of your own thing, without artists inspiring us, we would have no kind of creative ideas whatsoever. We need these kind of artists, these kind of outside the box kind of artists to inspire us, so we can release our own stuff, and our own really amazing stuff. I mean, where would Kendrick Lamar be without Tupac?
Yeah.
Where would what's the one? What's the band with Ozzy Osbourne? The
Black Sabbath.
Black Sabbath, right? Where would Black Sabbath be sorry, not Black Sabbath be? Where would Guns N' Roses be, or Back to Battle, or AC/DC be, or any of the heavy metal stuff like Iron Maiden? Where would any of those bands be if Black Sabbath didn't exist? Would they even exist? Would they even be noticed?
Exactly.
You know? So these kind of albums define music, you know? They're that important, you know?
Yeah.
But like, you cannot have music without this album. I think that's what people forget sometimes. If you took this album out, so much music would not exist from this album, because so many artists have been inspired from Pink Floyd.
But one thing is about finding the tracks on the live performances and stuff is that one of the songs on this album, a track called On the Run, was actually super different performed live than it actually was in the studio. Because in the studio it's like it's this whole electric thing of a synthesizer and all that. But for the live, honestly, it was such a drastic change, because it was originally, when it was performed live, it was originally called the Travel Sequence.
Travel sequence, that sounds interesting though.
Yeah.
But it makes sense, right? No, because like, I mean, this whole album is like a travel sequence, right? I mean, it's going back and forth all the time.
And it was like, originally the song was, rather than having all these synthesizers and that, it was literally just driven by an electric like jazzy, like jam beat to it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, but obviously they changed it up eventually, right? So, so that's certainly interesting. I guess it's just early ideas, trying things out, seeing what works, if it works. You know, I mean, obviously they changed it, and I think that's probably for the better, considering how well this album turned out. But it's certainly interesting. You know, I wonder if there's a video somewhere on YouTube for that. I mean, that's something to look out for, guys. You know.
Yeah, because they were much more. It was much more guitar heavy, the original version of it. But in the studio, they brought in a synthesizer. They brought in, it was a whole new arrangement of the track, and the synthesizer they brought in was I've got it here, the portable modular.
Yeah, I've heard about
that. Analog synthesizer.
Yeah. I've heard about that. It's really impressive. I've seen a couple of videos of that. The synth is just amazing. The sound you get out of it, it's just unbelievable. And
so with that synth, they revamped the entire track.
Yeah. I mean, what's really interesting, I think Pink Floyd are some of the first artists that I can think of, anyways, that really started to just cake that synth in their music all the time. Like I think about Kanye West, like where he just uses synths all day long. You know it's Kanye West because of synths. That's how I feel like about Pink Floyd in this album. You know it's Pink Floyd because of those big dark synths throughout the whole album. It's just amazing, you know. Yeah. And I don't think you got that in the 70s originally. You know, this again, what makes this artist or this band stand out from the rest, and that's what you've got to do as a band or an artist. You've got to stand out. You've got to make yourself more than everyone else, you know. You got to stand out from the crowd, and they always do that every single time.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the thing with Floyd, but with this synth as well, they are actually able to add the sound effects that you hear in the track now. Like obviously with the built-in keyboard, they're able to add like the train sound effects and stuff that you can hear on the track.
Yeah.
Which obviously they didn't do on the original travel sequence piece.
No.
So obviously the title got changed to On the Run.
Yeah.
But another thing that was quite interesting to learn as well was that the song Money on the album.
Let's just check what track that is. I don't know what track that is.
I don't think it's the second side of the album. It's the first track on the second side.
The first track on the second side.
Track 6.
Track 6. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. So
the song, because it's A side and B side, isn't it?
Yeah, back when vinyl was a big thing.
A big thing. Imagine that, right? Right, go on.
So the song was actually, and you can definitely notice it if you re-listen to it. It was influenced by a soul group called Booker T and the MGs.
What, like the wrestler Booker T?
No, well, that'd be cool.
That would be cool.
No, because they had a song. It's a great song. They had a song called Green Onions.
Sucker. Sorry. Go on.
They had a song called Green Onions.
Green Onions. That's such a weird ass name.
Which doesn't have any lyrics. It's literally just an instrumental jam.
Yeah.
But you can definitely tell.
What was it called? Green Leaves?
Green Onions.
Green Onions.
And
Jesus Christ.
you can definitely tell when you listen to Money and you listen to Green Onions, you can definitely tell the influence is definitely there.
How can onions be green? That's my question. It doesn't make any sense. You can't.
Again,
they're orange, no? Or like yellow at least.
Yeah, I think they are.
It's bull, that's bull, man. There's no. It makes no sense. How can you have green onions? Maybe they painted it green. Maybe that's what happened. You know, they put some spray on it, and now it's a green onion or green onions.
But yeah, so that song was inspired by that, and the story is that Gilmour, before he was in Floyd, he was in a band, and they used to perform like soul covers and like just soul music, and he had like that. He had Green Onions in his collection, and
I think people forget how important soul music is to music as a whole. I mean, it's for me, it always feels like the forgotten genre. That and maybe classical music. Because these kind of genres lay the foundation for every artist. I mean, when I think of hip hop, I think of the big you'll have some sort of vocals in the background cut up, some sort of soul vocal, and that will be in the background of almost every hip hop song. With Pink Floyd, you have those vocals in the background. I think it's the fourth track. You have the really this woman's voice, and that kind of soul kind of vibe. You've always got soul in music. You've got to have soul in any song for it to work, in my opinion. You've got to have it, because otherwise, you won't actually have any actual soul like in the song. You've got to, soul's so important.
Definitely. But one thing as well, which is quite interesting tidbit about this album, is that Beatle member himself, Paul McCartney, was meant to appear on the album. Jesus Christ!
Imagine if he was on it, bro. That would be crazy. But I just can't believe that. What was his excuse then?
So what actually happened was that if you listen to the album, you'll notice that like there are bits in songs where people were talking.
Yeah.
And basically what happened was that they decided to interview people to sort of like fit the transitions and stuff.
Yeah.
And just and one of the people they interviewed was Paul McCartney, who was at Abbey Road at the time recording the Wings album, Red Rose Speedway.
Yeah. But
they Macca decided to perform on the album, shall we say?
Yeah.
And Waters didn't like that. He said, I think Paul was just trying to be funny, but he knew that wasn't what we were going for. So his contribution to the album was removed.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, the album sounds so good now. Again, obviously it would have been amazing to see that kind of collaboration between two of the biggest artists and bands, and kind of you will ever get. Paul McCartney, one of the best artists of all time. Obviously in the Beatles, and then obviously did his own thing. Had a Christmas. I think his Christmas song was number one, by the way. Like,
Wonderful Christmas Time.
Wonderful Christmas Time.
It's a big song.
It's a big song. I don't actually like it all that much, but
it's all right.
You hear it on the radio all the time. I used to think that was a woman singing on that song. I thought that was a woman that was singing that when I first heard it. I was like, oh no, it's Paul McCartney.
It's Paul McCartney.
Just weird ass vocals. Anyways. But point is, you have Paul McCartney and you have Pink Floyd, and but I think the important thing to come from that is not your status doesn't mean that you're going to get the best song, right? Just because you're a big artist working with another big artist doesn't make it automatically sound good, right? And I think this is a classic case of it, right? Like for example, say for example, Guns N' Roses made a song that featured maybe like the singer of Motley Crue or the guitarist of Motley Crue. That sounds great because Guns N' Roses were inspired by Motley Crue, right? But I don't. I mean, how would that even work, right? I mean, when you think of it originally, it sounds great, right? But I don't even know if that would even be able to. Would they even be able to make a good song? I don't know. You can't just. The point is, you can't just assume that straight away. You've got to test these things out, because sometimes it doesn't work, I was trying to think of this of an example where it does work, which is where you just never expect it to work. There's this one song by Sexy Red and Bruno Mars. I mean, they're completely different artists, but that song everyone's talking about it. It's the craziest song ever. I don't like it, but everyone loves it, and it's really interesting because you never expect them to work together, and they do. Like Bruno Mars, what he does is his little pop thing, right, and then Sexy Red does her little weird ass rap thing, But it really works together, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
So sometimes mixing and matching works, right?
Yeah.
I don't think the album actually has any features though.
No,
I mean that's a really strong album. If you can make a really strong album without any features, I always think that's the best thing.
Yeah.
The meme goes with there's someone called there's a hip hop artist called J. Cole. The meme goes is that he released 4 or 5 albums without any features, and so he's just automatically so much better. But you know what? Features aren't everything, right? If you can envision the whole album and do it all yourself, then why not?
Definitely, because you get like some rap album, but it's by an artist, but it's more or less a compilation album because it's got so many guests on it.
Yeah.
I mean, you get some rap albums. I know it's different from Pink Floyd, but you get some rap albums where it's like where it's a producer and like it basically is a compilation album because it's just a producer doing beats and they're getting rappers on it. That's different, but you get some rap albums that are like by an actual artist rapping.
Yeah.
But they just have so many features. It's more like a compilation album, and it's like no, don't.
Yeah. I agree completely.
But one thing that is actually interesting to note though is that although Paul McCartney's contributions were removed from the album, if you listen closely to the final track, at the end of the final track, the song Eclipse, you can actually hear very quietly, very faintly, you can hear an orchestral passage of the Beatles track Ticket to Ride, which apparently was playing in the background whilst Abbey Road doorman Jerry Driscoll was recording his closing lines to the album.
Yeah.
There is no dark side of the moon, really. As a matter of fact, it's all dark.
Yeah. But yeah. So in conclusion, the album's just brilliant. I think we both think it's fantastic. I mean, so you rated it 10 out of 10. I rated it 8 out of 10. So what overall? That's 18 out of 20. So what, like 90%, something like that.
Yeah. So
that's fantastic. You know, this album is the benchmark for music. You know, it's going to be hard for other artists to replicate albums like this. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. No worries.
Yeah.
No worries.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
And I just want to thank all of you for listening to my podcast. It's been an absolute treat recording this with my mate Luka. I hope we can do it again very soon.
Yeah.
But I hope you guys have all enjoyed, and I hope you can stay tuned because there will be another episode very soon. I do hope. Just need to find an album to talk about, really, don't I? So we'll get that sorted. But
there's so many, man. We can just pick so many albums, bro. It's just unbelievable how many albums there are. Yeah,
definitely. But no, it's been a treat. I've enjoyed it. I'm sure Luca's enjoyed sitting here waffling on with me.
Oh yeah, it's great, man. I love it.
And we hope you guys can join us, or join me and whoever my new guest is. Or it could be Luka again. You never know. We might get more. Might get someone else.
I don't know. I enjoyed this, so yeah.
So I hope you can join me and whoever I'm with next for my next episode of this podcast about classic albums. Thank you, and stay tuned. Take care. Look after yourself.
Yep, see you later, guys. Bye.